All right, what's going on out there? In this podcast, man, I don't know if we're gonna get to anything other than the Epstein Files. So, if you've been living under a turtle's balls recently, you probably don't know that we got this massive dump of the Epstein Files, and it's basically what I thought it was. I'm surprised we're even getting it. I've said on past podcasts here, whatever the fuck this is on YouTube, I've said this before. I didn't think we were ever going to get any of it. The reason being is just think this out logically, okay? If you're a deep stater, or, whatever the powers that be that none of us know about, because real power is behind the scenes. But if you had all this incriminating evidence on all of these people, and basically, you could call up, say, like, Bill Gates, and say, hey, we want you to take some of your billions, put them over here, or we want you to use your name to champion said cause, I don't know, transing children, whatever these sick fucks are up to. So I describe it as the One Ring. And, it's pretty fascinating. We're going to get into some videos. We're going to react to them. But, one of the things that came out is Bill Gates and his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. Bill Gates, I guess, got an STD. I don't know, what do you call it? Gonorrhea or whatever from some Russian girl, Russian prostitutes or whatever that were there that Epstein procured for this literal demon. And then he talks about how he wants to secretly slip them to his wife so she doesn't even know she got an STD. Okay. I don't know what the veracity of this is. I don't know what the veracity of any of it is. But here's a simple way I think about it. I think there's some truth there. But you know what I mean? I wasn't there. I don't know what Bill Gates did. I don't know what Jeffrey Epstein did. I'm just saying, if you're going to send an email and to Bill Gates because he's cutting off whatever, business ties, whatever it is, if you're going to send an email to him disappointed that he's doing all this, and in there, be a shame if your wife found out that you slipped her some antibiotics or whatever to cure the STD you got from that Russian hooker. Well, I think it's pretty safe to say that Bill Gates is a monster. And all of these ruling class people, from the politicians to the businessmen at the top, to the deep staters, they're all just disgusting humans, right? Can you imagine? I don't know. I'm 47 years old at this point, okay? So I guess I'm an old man. I cannot imagine being married to a woman. You're supposed to love that human. You're married to a woman and you're hanging out with a pedophile. He was known to be a pedophile at this time. And all of these elites still want, I got to stop calling them elites. There is nothing elite about the ruling class. There is nothing elite about Elon Musk. Elon Musk is a bright dude, who came from a rich family. Daddy owned an emerald mine, came over here to America, got involved in a business, made a bunch of money, bought Tesla, and he's vying to be the world's first trillionaire. But still wanted to party at old Epstein Island after Epstein had been arrested. You know, it's pretty well confirmed that Bill Clinton is a cocaine doing, dirty SA, piece of crap. He's partying with Epstein. And I get why, there were a lot of powers that be sitting there going, we can't release this. But I don't know. I don't get it. I just don't get it at this point. I got this shitty YouTube channel. I sit there. I talk about how unelite the elites are. It doesn't matter. People still worship these people. I don't get it. I don't get the idol hero worship. What is so fascinating about I know what it is. Celebrity culture is for, I don't want to say uneducated people. How should I put it? People that are easily manipulated. You have Giancarlo Esposito out there talking about how it's time, how after, Trump is out of office, he's basically threatening everybody that they'll be called collaborators. This dude's a moron. I mean, have you ever really listened? I listened to Ben Affleck and Matt Damon on Rogan's podcast. Seem like reasonably intelligent dudes. So they're out there. But a lot of these celebrities are just morons. They're good at reciting lines and pretending. But I don't get it. I really don't. And to people calling Jeffrey Epstein this brilliant financier, we got a little video here. Let's see if I can find it. Because I want to react to some of these videos that people have put out. I mean, again, I'm not a full-time YouTuber, so I don't devote all of I work 40 hours a week. So doing the conspiracy, oh, bro, these are interesting times. I mean, I don't know if he's mentioned by actual name, but it's rumored that Keira Starmer was in there. I do believe at this point, Virginia Giuffre, it's probably more likely than not she was murdered. Pretty strange timing with all of that stuff. You know what I mean? But yeah, no, it's just, this stuff, dude, this stuff has always gone on. I mean, think about it. When you're some ruling class person, everybody's telling you how fabulous you are all the time. Those people are behind the scenes doing disgusting shit. I had a buddy tell me years ago, this was in like 2005, 2006. He said to me that a lot of the ruling class are actually pedophiles. And I go, get the fuck out of here, bro. Why are you dropping that on me? And he goes, nah, think about it, dude. A lot of these guys, and they even said, there's this dude. I don't know, I can't remember if they actually said Epstein's name, but they were balls deep in the conspiracies. And they said, there's guys out there that procure children for these people. And I didn't believe him until I started looking into it. Now I come at everything. I try to come at most things with an open mind. But yeah, it's just the reality of it, man. The people that lord over us are some of the most disgusting people. All right, let's get into this, because, of course, I sit through a commercial, because I was watching Asmongold And there's an interview, I think Bannon did it, with Epstein. And talking about how this guy's like a brilliant financier.
For the dinner, just walk me through it.
It was boring.
You couldn't possibly think it was boring. It's bullshit.
It was boring.
You had to be stars in your eyes.
No.
Did you fly over privately?
Yes, but it wasn't my plane.
So it didn't count?
No.
Jesus.
This guy is just evil incarnate. Like, dude, I don't like, to my audience, I don't like thinking this way, but I just want to smash that dude's face with a brick. Just while he's sitting there with his hands down, put a glove on so I don't cut my hand on that brick, and just throw it right in this guy's face, and then just walk out of the room. Like, just this guy's face pisses me off. His face would piss me off regardless of whether he's Jeffrey Epstein. But knowing that that is Jeffrey Epstein, his face just, I don't know, it just angers me.
You fly over.
Yes.
And it was, who were the first, like when you first met those leaders, you had to be wowed.
No. Financial crisis. Like you'd blame the
Okay, here
concept.
we go.
I don't understand the concept today.
All right, here we go.
In terms of politics. Remember, world leaders are politicians in general. They're not scientists. They're not intellectuals. They're not great thinkers. They're great politicians.
At the first Trilateral Commission meeting that you remember,
he's right.
Tokyo,
Yeah, he is.
Sometime in the early '90s. Do you remember what were the big issues of the day that they were talking about?
Yeah. In fact, it was funny because they were talking.
Pay attention to this, because this does not make sense to me. This is a guy. Remember, I want you to remember this. We were told Jeffrey Epstein was this brilliant financier. So this is one of the reasons why I wanted to show this particular video. So pay very close attention to what he's about to say about inflation. Okay? Just pay very close attention. This is supposed to be a guy who worked at Bear Stearns, who knows the financial world. And he's partially right with some of the things he's about to say. But I do remember on an episode of Rogan's podcast, Eric Weinstein, who is a mathematician, who worked in finance, said he talked to Jeffrey Epstein, and Jeffrey Epstein really didn't know what he was talking about. Okay, here we go. Because I'm going to point this out in a second.
Talking about inflation, and they were worried that what would happen. How do you control inflation?
Right, motion, influence, control.
As a mathematician,
popularity.
I didn't understand the concept. I don't understand the concept today. How's that possible? Well, when you talk about most things to do with money, money is meant to be local. It's U.S. dollars. Then I understand what it means. If inflation means my dollar today inflates, and it doesn't buy as much as it did a couple of years ago.
Right there. Right there. Did you guys hear that explanation? Okay. Did you just hear what he said? Let's go back and listen to that again. Okay. I have my bachelor's in finance, which means, I don't know. I'm going to lay this out to you guys. If I had to assign, if we were using jujitsu belt ranks, where I am in finance, I would say I'm a high-level blue belt on the cusp of being ready for my purple belt. So, I mean, think that out. I think that's a pretty fair assessment of somebody who's who just went to school for finance. I would not rank myself. I would not call myself an expert on this subject in any way. Okay? But this is the dumbest explanation of inflation I have ever heard. He's a mathematician, I don't even believe he was probably that good at math. I want you to listen to this one more time.
Japan.
No, many of these world leaders become world leaders because they're popular and they were able to get votes, or they were able to convince people to vote for them. I learned later. Many of them were just good at what they did in terms of politics. Remember, world leaders are politicians in general. They're not scientists, they're not intellectuals, they're not great thinkers, they're great politicians.
Hear what he's saying there, too? Exactly what we all kind of know. We all kind of know AOC is not the brightest bulb in the pack. Do you think... Name me a politician that just blows you away in intelligence. Name me one. That you just go, wow. You know, I'm a drooling moron next to this guy. This guy's really all got it figured out. Okay, but here, let's listen to his explanation of inflation.
At the first Trilateral Commission meeting that you remember.
He's right.
Tokyo,
Yeah, he is.
Sometime in the early 90s. Do you remember what were the big issues of the day that they were talking about?
Yeah, in fact, it was funny because they were talking about inflation. And they were worried that what would happen, how do you control inflation?
Right, motion, influence, control.
As a mathematician,
popularity.
I didn't understand the concept. I don't understand the concept today. How's that possible? Well, when you talk about most things to do with money, money is meant to be local. It's U.S. dollars. Then I understand what it means.
We're going to go to
if
40
inflation
with,
means my
Clinton.
dollar today inflates, and it doesn't buy as much as it did a couple of years ago. Financial crisis,
Okay, let's get into this for a second. This is supposed to be a guy who works at Bear Stearns. We're told that this guy is a brilliant financier and he doesn't understand inflation. Inflation is an expansion of the money supply without the corresponding goods and services to absorb the excess money. Here you go. I don't understand why this is a mystery. It's inflating because there's more of it. That's why it's called inflation. But what's really happening is because you have more dollars, they're worth less than they were before. This is your money printing. S&P 500 M2 money supply. Gee, I don't know. Oh, it's a complete mystery. Where'd all the inflation come from? Oh my God, how do I figure this out? Where did the inflation come from? M2 money supply. Oh, is right here? Right here? 2020? When they made the money printer go burr? Could that be it? Could that be where the inflation comes from? Oh, I don't know. Like, you briefly hit the M2 money supply in 2023, and that's where they hit with boom. The air was coming out. This is what happens when you force money in. It flows into assets. The excess money that was printed went into the asset class, okay, for lack of a better term, right? And there is 2023 when the AI narrative took off, right there. So this is my question. How is a guy who's supposed to be a brilliant financier working for Bear Stearns not understand a simple concept that you learn in Econ or Finance 101? I don't understand inflation to this day. Nobody understands it. It's either that or he's lying in that video. I don't know. I mean, the dude is a, pedophile and a liar. So maybe he's just sitting there lying, but that makes no sense to me. He explains the housing crisis. Yeah, it was the government that went to the banks and threatened them. If they didn't do what the government wanted to, they were going to come after them. But, I mean, we're literally sitting here looking at evil personified. Let's watch a little bit more of this. This is fucking creepy, dude.
Blame someone for giving your father most people. And it's easy to blame people for the financial crisis, like you'd blame someone for giving your father the drink before he had his heart attack. But what really happened, the real
Bill Clinton
enemy of the finance system was Bill Clinton. And if you ask me what and who caused the financial crisis, I would tell you it was Bill Clinton.
Man.
Because of what Bob Roosevelt he did to deregulate the financial system?
No.
I've said this for years, that Bill Clinton was actually responsible for the 2008 financial crisis. It's easy to blame Bush and the Republicans. But again, in my opinion, he's getting this right. Yeah. Clinton, and he points this out. I'll just let him tell it.
Wow.
Because as the last time we had our 60-minute interview, you talked to me about home ownership. And you asked me whether everyone should own a home. And I told you no, it's too risky.
So the financial collapse of 2008 is because of hardworking African Americans.
No, that's the dumbest question. But here's what I don't get about Epstein. He understands what led up to the 2008 financial crisis. He may understand it more than I do because he was on Wall Street during that time. But how do you not understand what inflation is? It's kind of in the name. Think of a balloon. Blow that balloon up. There's a lot. I'm just saying, this is actually kind of easy to understand. This is a stupid question. So it was hardworking African Americans. No, dipshit. What it was the banks were forced to lend to subprime people. There's prime, there's subprime. It is what it is, man. They're going to classify you. So they were basically, it was called ninja loans at the time. No income, no job. And people still got these loans. And this is what happens when you allow politicians to buy votes.
Hispanics and whites who wanted to have a ownership stake in the society that all rests on their shoulders. They're the culprits.
No, not at all.
Okay, then
I didn't say they were the culprits. I was pretty clear it was Bill Clinton.
Okay.
And why was it Bill Clinton? Because Bill Clinton wanted to get votes from those people. And he sold them the idea that instead of renting in a house, and historically the values of houses have gone up, and he said, you guys in these
houses, again, okay. If we're going to get into the nitty gritty of this, if you're going to play this character, the financier, it would kind of also be good to understand. Nothing increases in value. Your money, well, I shouldn't say it like that. Houses don't increase in value. The money is debased. It means your money buys less. That's why houses go up. That's why houses cost more, is how I should say it. But it's not that houses are rising. When people go, oh, well, you could buy a house in the 1950s. All right, well, the houses today are larger and they have more amenities than they did in the 1950s. And from what I've heard, I don't know, I've never really done much research, but it makes sense. You could cut about 20 to 40% off the price of housing if you deregulate it. But the problem is the boomers were trained because the government wanted them to do it, to think of their houses as an investment. A house is not an investment. A house is a liability.
Local communities who haven't been able to afford a house before. I'm going to show you a way. I'm going to give you a way because I'm sure I'll get your vote.
Oh my.
That you can own a house.
Bro.
Because I want your vote. So what we're going to do is I'm going to let you buy a house, Mr. Bannon, when you're not right on the border, maybe, or not even on the border. Your credit is not good.
Yeah.
Okay? Let's be honest. And it's not my fault. It's
5
not
minutes, how he was
Bill
recruited?
Clinton's
Okay,
fault.
all right, after
but
this.
whatever happens, at the moment your credit score or whatever it is, your credit's not good. Mm-hmm. Now, normally, you come to me and want to borrow money. I'm a bank. And I say, I'm sorry, Mr. Bannon, I can't lend you money because your credit score is not up to where it needs to be. Hopefully, if you work harder and clean up some of your problems, it will be. But no, what I say to you is I'm going to figure out a way to lend you, not give you.
He's right about this. He's talking about subprime mortgage loans. He's right. Like, yeah.
Yeah, but dude, basically everybody already knows this. Again, if you go back to Ninja loans from 2008, that's all you need to know, is that the banks were forced into making loans to bad borrowers. Okay? So then what happened, right? And this is, 8th grade version of it, right? If you really want to know everything that went into it, Matt Taibbi's got books and there's books out there. But the Cliff Notes community college version of it is the banks didn't want these loans on their books because they knew they were going to blow up at some point because these borrowers didn't have jobs and didn't have incomes. All right. So what they did is they chopped up pieces of it and sold them off as derivatives, mortgage-backed securities, things of that nature. That's what Michael Burry was looking at. And again, it was just a ticking time bomb. And, it is what it is, man. All it took was a black swan. Boom. There you go. And it is what it is. But, he gives a much better explanation than I
This
do.
is it. Holy shit.
I'm going to lend you money anyway, though you don't have a good credit score. And don't worry, I'm going to get rid of the term that you don't have bad credit. Bad credit sounds pejorative. You don't want to be a person.
Sounds judgmental.
Yes, sounds judgmental.
Of course.
So what we're going to do is we're going to call your credit situation.
I will say this. Jeffrey Epstein, as much as I question him, is extremely intelligent. And I can just tell that by the way he's communicating here. Even though he didn't know what inflation was. This dude is... I'm not surprised that this guy was able to get blackmail on all of these elites and trick them. I could, you could, we all could, but I don't have that deceptive bone in me. I don't enjoy lying to people, so.
Yeah.
Subprime. Oh, nobody knows what that means. Subprime. That means prime is good credit. Subprime is not good credit. Less than good credit. So we'll call it something that people really won't follow. And we'll tell you what. We're going to have people lend you money, though you are a subprime borrower.
Dude, smart.
And
Yeah.
I will figure out some government agencies to guarantee your loan. Though I don't think you're a good risk. So the banks say, no, no, no. We don't want, initially, the banks said, sorry, this is too risky, Mr. President, for us. We're in the business of managing risk. It's not our money. It's the hard-working people's money
It's the money,
sitting
yeah.
in our bank.
Right.
We can't lend to people whose credit is not prime.
Sure.
You're asking us to lend to people who are subprime. And he says, here's the key, if you don't, Mr. Bannon, I'm going to make sure the Justice Department charges you with discriminatory lending because you refuse to lend to
black
my
people. Yes.
subprimers. In business terms, you should never lend to. But what we'll do is I'm going to form an agency called Fannie Mae and Ginnie Mae, just another agency names. They'll guarantee your loan. So don't worry.
I feel so vindicated right now. This is crazy. Holy fuck.
Don't
Holy
worry.
fuck.
You don't have to pay it back anymore. Even though you, and maybe you don't even have to work as hard anymore. That's probably a harsh statement, but these players, these two big
Can you summarize
firms,
this? Yeah, basically what he's doing is he's saying that Bill Clinton and the people that were in charge made a system where basically you would give money to people who you shouldn't give money to, but if you don't give money to those people because there's a correlation with ethnic different groups, like for example black people or Hispanics, that then they can create a punishment for basically saying that, oh, well, because you're not giving money to these different large groups of ethnic minorities, that now it's because you're being discriminatory rather than the fact that you're just exercising discretion based off of like basically investment tables. So, and then also it's by keeping those people, like remember what I said before about how it's like keeping them on the clock, right? Always making sure that those people aren't able to ever, like kind of like get outside of the money that they're continually having to pay.
Mm-hmm.
Fannie.
Yeah, I'm going to piggyback on what Asmongold is saying there. Yeah, I think that's as good of an explanation as you could give of it. But yeah, that's the way the government is. They want you on the plantation because when you're on the plantation, you're easier to control. It's much more difficult. It's much more difficult to control a populace, right? That doesn't rely on the government for anything. Okay? Let's just say you had a farmstead or whatever, and it produced everything that you needed. Well, it's really difficult to use coercion on you. But, get you back on the plantation. We're going to get you a house. Get you back on the hamster wheel so we can tax your earnings.
Will guarantee
To make
the
them
fact
rely
that that
on the
bank
system and continually
will
fucking
receive its
vote
money.
for the same people.
Yeah. Yeah, basically. Bill Clinton gave me a house. Yeah, these people are... These politicians, I've talked about it. Like, your Zoran, however you say that douchebag's name. To me, it's just obvious that the guy is fake. Everything is a performance to him. Most of your politicians, they're just performers. But, I mean, if you're going to give people free stuff, I think it was Thomas Sowell that talks about how the end of the empire comes when the politicians figure out that they can bribe the taxpayers with their own largesse. It's... Wonder what rate he got for Lolita Island. Smart, but doesn't know an inflate. Yeah, but I mean, look, dude, we all have. Look, Yeah, I agree with your statement there. But and I don't know who was behind him. But I mean, just in order to sit in front of somebody's face and gather intel on him, got to be pretty intelligent. I'm questioning his financier background. Like, it doesn't make sense to me that a guy, what this guy Epstein said about futures. Dude, I'll check it out. Yeah, I'll look at it. Have a good night, brother. Do some comments. So, Zerp and Tina. Yeah, I don't disagree with you, but it is what it is. No. Bro, I barely watch any movies. I know you went to bed, but I barely watch anything anymore. Yeah, Rand Paul is intelligent. Yeah. I'm not saying there aren't politicians out there that aren't extremely capable and intelligent. Problem is, these guys aren't corrupt so that nobody knows about them because they don't have the machine behind them. See what I'm saying about politics? Politics is quid pro quo. If you have a machine behind you in politics, it's more likely than not that you're corrupt. Like AOC is corrupt. He's gotten a lot of African. Yeah. No, dude, Thomas Sowell is my spirit animal. I love that dude. That dude's a national treasure.
Now, the bank says, wow,
Yep.
best deal in history. I refused to lend to Mr. Bannon, but now he has the big brother, his Uncle Sam. He went to his Uncle Sam, and Uncle Sam says, I'm guaranteeing it. The bank says, I want everybody. Give me as many people as you can give me.
Yeah.
Because Uncle Sam is the best credit in the world. Not only it's the United States government. We'll take it all.
And, I mean, you should be offended as a taxpayer. Did you get a ninja loan? You did things right and you got screwed for it.
As much subprime as we can handle, because it's the best investment for the moment. It's a strange investment because it has politics.
The YouTube videos no longer up anymore?
Inserted its way into the numbers. Politics doesn't belong in the markets.
Let's see.
But now we're going to have, I want the votes. We'll make guarantees that you who can't get a house normally will be able to get a house from the bank. The bank says, this is the best deal in history. We will package 100, 300, 1,000 of you subprimers, and we'll sell it off to somebody else. And the whole system becomes mired in subprime mortgages.
Man.
Becomes the
What do you
issue.
mean mired? There's just too much supply. It's a supply-demand problem. You get too much supply.
No, it's
Is
a very
this
good
subprimers
question.
like a slur?
What does
Yeah.
too much supply mean? Well, then you get the people, go back to your first question to me,
The financial crisis.
government leaders. Government leaders know if they're good, and they can do mathematics, they can balance their checkbooks. So certain people in Congress said, well, how do you value these subprime mortgages? The banks say we've been valuing them the same way we've always valued them for the past 20 years. The accounting.
This is like listening to a dev explain how they designed the game.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
You know, like it's like listening to it's like a dev interview.
Firms, there's something in this country called GAAP accounting, which is a standard type of accounting.
Generally accepted accounting
principles.
And we account for them the same way we've always accounted for them. If we paid $1,000 for your mortgage last night,
Yes.
when we put it on our books today, we're going to say its value is $1,000.
Right.
Makes sense. I paid for it. What's its value?
Like Blizzard, yeah.
It's $1,000. That's what I paid for it last night. No. The Congress people said, that's not really a good answer, you know. That doesn't give us confidence that you know what you're doing. Because what happens if you have to sell it tomorrow morning?
You know, he's bringing up a legitimate point here about government. Let me point this out, man. Right? You got these bankers. You got these bankers, right? They run these banks. Jamie Dimon, whoever you want to bring up. These people are, whatever you think of Jamie Dimon, that's an intelligent man. Whatever you think of him, whether you like him or dislike him, that's a very intelligent guy you probably want to listen to. Probably going to learn some things from him. Okay? But there you go. That Epstein just gave one of the best explanations of why the world is so fucked up. Okay? Right there. How do you guys value this? Well, we use generally accepted accounting principles or practices. Okay? Congress. Some politician sitting behind a whatever desk up there at the weird tables that they have doesn't know their ass from a hole in the wall when it comes to finance. Somebody like Elizabeth Warren. They sit there and then they question an accountant about accounting, what the guy does. So this is a guy who went to school for it. Then he went through, he passed all his tests, probably worked in the field for a while, started working for the bank. And you're sitting there in front of Congress. Well, how do we know that you know what you're doing? The fuck? These politicians, like, if you ran your own business and you're a politician, like Mark Wayne Miller, I think is the guy's name, took a couple cage fights. I'm betting that guy has some idea of accounting. I bet you he has some idea of how it works. But I'm just sitting up there next to him is AOC. What assurances do I have that you know what you're doing? Oh, probably because just anybody generally walking around on the streets knows more about accounting than fucking AOC. And then these people come in, right, with their dumb ideas, their mid-wit ideas. They read a Wikipedia entry on accounting, and then they want to look at the accountant and explain how to do their job. This society is awash in stupid people trying to push their narrative on everybody. And that's why a lot of this stuff happens. Some of it is scumbaggery. Some of it is just never attribute to malice what you can attribute to stupidity. I think that's, what is it, Hamlin's razor? But yeah, it's fascinating. Let's call it, one of the funniest things I've ever seen was Congress, like, asked Jamie Dimon, are you going to divest of your investments in oil? And he just looks at, like, AOC or whoever, and he goes, no. And I'm like, he's like, that would be disastrous. Again, a bunch of politicians that don't know their ass from a hole in the wall want to tell you what car to drive, want to tell you how to behave while they're choking out underage girls that they're hooking up with, provided by Jeffrey Epstein. You know, and you got these shrill, childless cat ladies that are all in Congress and the Senate, just putting their devouring mother opinions out there. And you just sit there and you go, what fucking world am I living in? I was told what I was supposed to do was go get a job, get an education, pay my bills, and now I got to pay for some asshole in Washington's stupid decision to give a bunch of people who didn't qualify for the loans and then it imploded the economy. And I actually don't think we ever recovered from it. Yeah. He underperformed the market as it just made money off the fees and from rich pedos. Yeah, I never looked up what his returns were. You know what I mean? But when you say that, he underperformed the market. Yeah. Basically everybody underperforms the market. Okay? Just matching the market is an accomplishment. If you could let's just say, for the sake of this argument, because we're not going to go with what the stock market really returns, because I don't feel like fucking arguing about it, but it's about 6.2 to 6.4% plus dividends. This was figured out a long time ago. It's how you don't create too much inflation. And that's why our M2 money supply has basically been stagnant. But Jack Bogle talks about this. He goes, here's what your returns are. About 2 to 3% growth, 2 to 3% inflation, plus dividends, right? That's your M2 money supply. Okay. If you had a Robinhood account or whatever play account you use, and for the next 10 years, you had 18% return, basically, most places on Wall Street would hire you on that alone. Especially if you had, like, the education to back it up. Like, let's say you were an accountant and you went in there and you showed them that. Okay. Yeah. But again, it just goes to show that these people in the government fuck up everything.
Uh-huh.
This
is explained in the movie The Big
Something's
Short.
happened and you have to sell it. Remember those kinds of stress tests?
Mm-hmm.
Would you be able to value it at what you paid for it the day before? And Wall Street says, that's not the way you can think about this. This is crazy.
Yeah.
We always value things at the cost from the day before.
I can't wait. I'm listening to an accounting
And
lecture
they've
from
changed
this
the
dude.
accounting
When the
method.
dev speaks, you listen.
In essence, to say not what it was
That's
worth
crazy.
yesterday, but if I have to sell, what would it be worth?
Yeah.
That's impossible. So what happens is every bank now has to value something they bought yesterday at lower than they paid.
Architect, yeah.
Never before in 20 years did they have to do this. So something they bought at 1,000 on their books was 1,000 is now
I'm gonna be honest. The more I watch this, the more I'm not sure if he's dead.
990.
He could be in Israel. I don't think it's probable, but it's possible. Epstein could still be alive. Personally, I think Epstein got killed because I just think about this logically, right? What would happen to the system? See, systemic collapse is the most terrifying thing you could ever live through. Wow, I'm sure there's more terrifying things, but it's one of the most terrifying things you could ever live through. Jeffrey Epstein still being alive, like in Israel, is a threat to the system. Because, I mean, basically, let's look at what's happened over the past however many years and what's really going on in the world. What's going down is what's happening around the world is that the ruling class has lost control of the narrative. Now, they realize the only people that still believe the narrative are dumb people and boomers. And I assure you, my parents, my dad and it's actually my stepdad and my mom, they're completely clueless. Like anything that I say to them that isn't reported on the news, they just start yelling at me. And I'm just sitting there going, Jesus Christ, do you people fucking read anything? They don't. They don't read. And then they argue about things I know about. My stepdad doesn't know his ass from a hole in the wall and finance. but yet it drives me insane because I'm constantly, he's constantly arguing with me. He'll argue about something he doesn't even know about. And it's just infuriating. But, again, they realize that the only people that still buy into the news is trustworthy are boomers, and they were brainwashed into that after World War II. Nobody was questioning the narrative after Victory Day. Now, we're 80 years on from World War II, and we're all sitting around going, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
That starts to. You asked the question about what did I start to think about.
I don't know.
Something's 1,000 and 990. This person now has to value it at 980.
When did you first start to get nervous? Understanding Bill Clinton.
Again, I watched part of this video before. This is just bizarre that he changed his shirt. And again, now that I see more of his face, I kind of want to throw a brick at it. It's too bad that I think he's dead. Because I would really like to throw a brick at this guy's face. Now that I rethink it. You know what I might want to throw at this guy's face? More than a brick? Honey badger. Look at that face. Tell me you wouldn't like to throw a honey badger at that guy's face. And just watch it devour his eyeballs in his face. It's so punchable. Just is. It's so, I don't know. I just throw a honey badger at you.
In all this, did you change glasses?
Yes.
Okay.
I changed shirt.
I saw that black.
Guy, bro, he changed his shirt in the middle of the interview.
Are you okay with the...
Yeah, great. I think we're gonna have all kind of changes.
I'm experimenting. Okay.
When did you get a feeling? Did you ever anticipate before it happened something like 2008 could happen?
No.
He body swapped?
How could that be?
It's the word I can beat to death is that it's very much like would I anticipate I'll have a heart attack tomorrow?
Well, let me say two things. There is a weird thing that happens when people find out that you have any level of knowledge on the stock market. They'll say things to you like, well, if you're so knowledgeable, why didn't you buy Nvidia? The reason why people say that kind of shit is mostly because they're ignorant, right? Like once you get to a certain level of knowledge, you understand the risks. Like how the fuck are you supposed to know? Well, you could have been watching the float, whatever. But I'm just using Nvidia as an example. How are you supposed to know that these stocks are going to shoot up and become massively overvalued? And that's part of the problem with it. But what I will say here is, again, I had no knowledge of finance before the 2008 financial crisis. I didn't really have any knowledge till I went to school for it. And then I just kept reading and it is what it is. But with no knowledge, I was sitting around that there were people down when I was in Phoenix going, you should buy a house and flip it. Here's what I said at the time. No knowledge of finance. I said to them, yeah, I'm not going to do that. And they're like, why? And I go, well, how do I know the bottom's not going to fall out of the market? And they're like, that's ridiculous. You know, the bottom's not going to fall out of the market. I go, yeah, but it doesn't make sense. And they go, what do you mean? I go, how can a house go up $100,000 in value in 6 months? Or lack thereof. How's it going up in price? Because it's not value. It's just going up in price. How's it going up in price $100,000 in 6 months? That doesn't make sense to me. So he's working on Wall Street. And I'm not saying you could have predicted exactly what would happen, but how these people didn't see the ticking time bomb that was about to go off, I will never understand it.
Unlikely.
Was 2008 a heart attack or a stroke? Debilitating.
It's a better. I don't. It was both. But why was it both? Because, in fact, as I said, the blood was getting dried up in the system, and the head, which is sort of the central bank, wasn't working. So, to some extent, it was a combination. It was just a crisis.
Did you see that building up over time?
Jesus.
It's always been lurking in the background. I mean, if you have an older parent,
Search
would you
Epstein
say
alive?
it's possible? Did you anticipate him
Guys.
having a heart attack today? No, you hope things are going to go better and maybe they'll fix it up. The
time
system was
travel-
getting
yeah.
too complex, and it wasn't based on derivatives because what people keep forgetting, and as I was just explaining, Wall Street
Man.
and in many professions, including Wall Street makes it sound complicated. They don't want the little guy to understand what they do because they make so much money.
Yeah,
And they don't
true.
do very much. So they couch it in words like derivative and stock options and commodity futures and different types of contracts. It's all everyone is capable of understanding it. It is not complicated. But Wall Street, because they make so much money from doing fairly simple things, needs to make it more complicated than it really is.
He's right and wrong. The fact is this. With any subject, the ocean goes extremely deep. But the basics on any subject are easy to understand. And this is what I tell people about the stock market and understanding money. You don't need 150 IQ. You don't need to go to school for finance. You don't need to go to school for accounting. You just need to understand the basics. So, if you can understand some basics, and I'm talking elementary school basics, you will do well in life. Here they are. For your average person, just put your money in a low-cost index fund and go to the beach. I would recommend a balanced fund or a targeted date fund. I probably actually prefer the balanced funds, but, you know, I'm not going to sit here and argue with you about a targeted date fund because they're still ultimately basically the same thing. Just need to know that. Don't do anything stupid. If you want to buy stocks, pick up an accounting book, pick up a finance book, start yourself a Robinhood account, start buying stocks with a little bit of money, even if it's $10 a month. Then watch. Understand what you did right, understand what you did wrong, avoid leverage, buy some gold here and there, buy some silver here and there, throw it in the fucking fireproof safe, bury it, pay hookers with it, whatever you want to do, there you go. But to sit here and say that the whole thing is not that complicated and you're going to learn it overnight is kind of a ridiculous assertion. Again, this is also a guy who just said he didn't understand inflation, and now he wants to tell me that. And I would agree, Wall Street mostly doesn't do shit, but
we had a very big recession in the early 90s based upon real estate and Japan.
Dude, it's just like I enjoyed living in ignorance more. Yeah, what the fuck, man? Like,
yeah, you become cursed with knowledge. That was the best line from all of the Marvel movies, is when Thanos looks at Tony Stark and he said, "You're not the only one cursed with knowledge."
I don't even know what to say. Oh my god. We're gonna move around a little bit more in a couple of minutes, okay?
And basically imploding.
Let's again.
Okay.
You had a recession in the 90s. I don't know what it's based upon. It's always interesting to look.
It was based upon the Japanese market tanking. The world is interconnected. It's basically, there's a bunch of plumbing and a bunch of pools, and it flows from one area to another. And you can overfill that pool. And that's what happened in Japan. And then the liquidity was sucked out. Because reality starts to set in.
Back and say, separate from there's certain triggers, like there, in the 70s there was a...
What do you think it was based upon, the 90s downturn? It's clearly there was a huge downturn.
No, I know there was a downturn. That's what I know for sure. I don't...
That's a fact.
That's all. Everything else is sort of speculation about why did he have that?
I understand that, but there's some speculation that has 0% probability of being true, and there's others that have 90%. In the range, when you look at the range of alternatives of what could have caused it in 90, and what I'm trying.
Yeah, dude, it was most likely the Japanese economy imploding, my dude. That's most likely what caused the 1990 recession in America. The PE ratio of the Japanese stock market at its height, I believe, I'm going rote, so don't flog my balls if I get this wrong, but I believe it was 60 or 61, the price to earnings ratio. So effectively, it's going to take you 60 years to get $1 out of it. How long did it take? And that's if there was no growth. How long did it take for the Japanese stock market to recover? About 34 years. You just pull it up. We'll listen to him, but I'm going to pull this up.
What I'm trying to do is get you all the way up to 2008.
This is insane.
Look, you're the smartest guy in the room, right? You know that. Do you think there's any
No, he's not.
in the world today?
Oops, this is going to be a bad question.
No, but do you think anybody in the world today, the Alan Greenspans, the Bernankes, is there any central banker you know, any partner of any Wall Street firm, any guy running a trading desk, and I would take it that would be, or anybody at a Larry Fink at BlackRock, Steve Schwartzman at Blackstone, the top 100 financial guys, and let's throw in a couple of Nobel economists, and let's throw in the best professors at Wharton, at Harvard, at Stanford. Do you think that there's anybody that understands money or understands the world's financial system as good as you?
There must be.
But it doesn't come to the top of the head.
No.
Okay, fine.
So there you go. There you go. This is most likely what caused the recession in the 90s. Okay? This is up till 2021. I believe this graph, I believe it has recovered today. I don't know how I got sent to this site from here, but yeah, what's this up to? Are you fucking kidding me with this shit? But whatever. There you go. Okay, so it's recovered today. But that took 35 years for it to recover. It is what it is. You imagine, though, just buying this entire time and now you're just recovering. 2010 it's basically, Jesus Christ. It hits its bottom and then 2010 drops it again. But yeah, I mean, that's the danger of buying high PE environments. It's why I'm sitting on the sidelines right now. But yeah, but it depends on if you can make a case as to why you bought what you bought so they know you didn't get. Yeah, no, I agree with you, man. But it's just part of the problem with stocks is, you go, well, why didn't you buy this one? Then it's like, I don't know where the liquidity is going. Just go with Buffett, right? Watch the markets. Yeah, he does. He thinks he's like, that's why I made the comment. He's not the smartest guy in the room. This is why I think Trump was broad stroking whenever he referred to cartels. Cartels also include banking cartels and financial use. Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, Chase Manhattan's been busted. HSBC Bank has been busted laundering money for the cartels. Yeah, dude, the banking cartels are cartels. Giga Todd Howard coming in with a banger right there. In the 90s Japan, yeah, dude, I remember hearing that. That's one of the funniest things. That I always forget what it was in Japan that was worth more than the state of California. But yeah, thanks for reminding me. Because, I mean, it's just so ridiculous what happened there. The rumor is the United States basically told them to do it so that they would have artificially low interest rates that everybody could borrow from. I'm still putting money in. It's just in my 401k at work, I'm putting it in the bond fund, in sitting, waiting, because I can just move that around. I'm still in the market. In my Vanguard account, roughly half of my portfolio is still in the total world market, or actually the total US market, and another index fund. So I still have all my stocks sitting there. It's just in my Roth IRA, which I can move stuff around. I put my money into T-bills, and I'm still reinvesting in the T-bills. I'm still in the market. I'm just in a safer spot. Right now, I'll tell you what is informing me and why I did it. Right? We'll go over this. Can like it or not like it. Right now, so right here, right now, I moved over into T-bills in my Roth IRA in October, right as this was at like 230. Okay? Now, maybe you don't like the Buffett indicator. Personally, I like the Buffett indicator because it's just easy, right? The other thing that is informing me to money supply. Verse S&P. I showed this earlier, but I'm just going to show it again. Here you go. Yeah, that's... All right. There you go. That's where we are. That's when they let the M2 money supply come down and then they pushed it back up. That's another reason. We can look at your CAPE ratio. Current CAPE ratio. Current CAPE ratio is around 39 to 40. A historically high level. Now, I'm not actually selling out of my actual stuff that's just in my brokerage account, but this is what is informing me. So, as of Jan 2026, it's 39.85. Okay. Let's look at this in one other way. Current price to book of the S&P 500. As of late January, the S&P price to book ratio is 5.3 to 5.6, indicating a high valuation relative to historic average. Okay. Price to sales. Current price to sales is 3.47. Way above the 1.9 that it was historically. And that's why I'm in T-bills in my Roth IRA and in my 401k. I'm sitting in what's called the G fund, which is just bonds. So again, I'm still in there and I'm still dollar cost averaging. I just think the market's overvalued and there's a lot of uncertainty. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. The future is going to tell us, but I don't think I am.
Wow.
And equity markets for the internet, implosion of the internet 2000, 10 years later roughly. Mm-hmm. And then this run up through the Iraq war and all that, the run up to 2008. Every 10 years it seems like we're in some sort of 10 years before the 1990s was the 70s.
You sound like an astrologer.
Okay.
And not a financial person.
You're supposed a mathematician. It just seems to me a pattern of every 10 years.
That's misleading. That's exactly right.
I would like to see this guy do math. Because again, I believe Eric Weinstein said the dude didn't really understand math either. I would like to test this guy.
Because people like to see patterns. People like to see patterns where there are none.
So a pattern of a financial crisis every 10 years is just in my mind.
Yes.
The internet says.
Long-term capital.
Jesus, he just says it. Oh my God. This is nuts. What the fuck is this? I just, yeah. Emperor Palpatine? No, I was actually thinking about that, right? This is more like Darth Plagueis. And then what followed after Darth Plagueis is Palpatine, who took over the government. Who is that?
The long-term capital that had to be bailed out back in the late 90s when everybody panicked. And that wasn't a big, that bailout today would look small. Like
how about that,
$5 billion, or it was $30 billion. It was,
businesses fail all the time.
But they long-term capital, the Federal Reserve stepped in.
But I'm saying people go bad. Things go bad all the time.
Yes, the local, you're correct. The audience that's watching this, the little guys, they go bankrupt all the time and nobody gives a shit. You know why? They're a little guy. But when long-term capital management goes bankrupt, or Bear Stearns goes bankrupt, or Lehman Brothers goes bankrupt, people care. Because
Epstein makes a good point here. And this is what I touched on earlier about systemic collapse.
It's an unfair characterization.
Why do you say that?
Because again, it's the complexity of the situation. If you think about you have a complex system. You have your body. Now, in fact, the little guy is my finger. This is.
And Bear Stearns is your heart.
That's correct. The banking system is my heart. The system, I can't risk my because remember, it's not only my.
You haven't been able to name.
Hang on.
You haven't.
Hang on.
No, hang on.
I was trying to hang. I wanted to see if the hang on.
No. You haven't been able. You're not good enough yet. You're like junior wizard trying to do it. You haven't. Yes. I say, since we can't name another guy that's as good as you. Now, there may be a couple out there. You're not bragging. You're humble.
Dude, this is. Oh my God. Who is this? This is insane. Really, this is nuts.
Yeah, again, I'm going to start questioning how intelligent this guy really is, though. I mean, he's intelligent because he can do the long-term planning, but the smartest guy in the room, I don't know about all that. What I'm seeing here from Epstein, and this is is reality. I'm not really seeing like a just high level finance guy. I'm just not.
It had to be sometime. Please tell me there was some time before you went to jail and basically got cut off from daily information in the summer of 2008.
The most sample
That
is
you started to
clearly.
get very nervous that this
Don't leave. The
complex
video
system,
was
that
taken
something was
down.
deeply
No, it
wrong.
wasn't. I'll try it again.
Okay,
Copy.
first, let's go back.
Paste.
When I say no one understands the system better than I
See?
do, it doesn't mean I
You always
understand.
sound like a doctor. You're
No, there's people that understand the system way better than Jeffrey Epstein. It seems to me that all you really need to do to break into the ruling class is just be an accomplished liar. That's really what it seems like to me at this point. Because he's sitting here, he's saying he knows the system better than anybody. You didn't know what inflation was. Maybe I'm kind of turning around on this guy.
afraid he's going to get sued for giving a thing.
Yes,
You're not,
no.
you're
No,
not
no,
taking
no.
on any liability. There's
Yeah.
no contingent
Yes.
liability here for
Yeah,
your
no,
answers.
no. But the word understand is the problem.
Okay.
I don't understand the system. So I don't understand the financial
Will you
system.
please stop? You cannot sit here and
Ma'am.
tell me.
No.
What we just went through, I'll go through again. The
It's
hedge fund
region locked?
managers, the money
Really?
managers, the central bankers, the commercial bankers, the heads of the investment banks, the heads of all the trading desks, the top economists, and I'll throw in the business school lecturers at Stanford. Of all the top 200, 250, you can't name at the top of your head the guys are at least at your level. You have to understand it somewhat.
No. Sorry. We all don't understand it.
Man.
No
This guy's full of it here.
one understands it. It's a mirror.
Jesus
It's
Christ.
that's part of the problem.
The U.S. is the hegemon. It has the petrodollar. Its T-bills function as pristine collateral. Okay. Yeah, there's aspects of it you're never going to know. Is you're going to look at it and go, that's odd. But I do think the head of the Federal Reserve has a pretty good understanding of what's going on, to be honest with you. You know, looking at it from the outside. The reason being is the ruling class is not going to allow. Now the question becomes who owns shares in the Fed. But again, the ruling class is not going to allow some clown to become head of the Federal Reserve. Yeah.
It's impossible to understand. That word understand simply means if this happens here, that will
You
happen.
share the video. Yeah, this is nuts. Let me go back. I'm going to find the other ones too. So apparently he talks about the Illuminati.
Like it was yesterday, one of the headlines in Time magazine said, "David, please fire yourself." So he thought that there was a world that existed that would be a combination of both politics and business and leadership. What do I mean?
Oh, is this
He formed
David
something called
Rockefeller?
The Trilateral Commission. The Trilateral Commission is some spooky stuff. People said it was some of the people that the Illuminati. There's some mystery
No way. Oh my God.
about it. People that ran
He
the world.
actually said it.
It was politicians, but David said most countries, the politicians get elected for 4 years or 8 years, separate from the royal families in England or in the Middle East. Someone's there for 4 years and then they're not there anymore.
Yeah.
The most important people to have stability and consistency would be businessmen. So he formed this trilateral commission of businessmen and politicians from three
He's literally talking about how they made the fucking, basically the Illuminati. It's, so you literally have, so remember what I said? This is like a dev video?
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree with that.
Literally just,
I mean, it's mostly so powerful people can stay in, powerful families can stay in power. But yeah, I mean, this is definitely worth a watch because it really does illustrate like the behind the scenes. And, you know, I think Epstein was killed, personally. I think they killed him because he became too big of a liability, but that's me. Anyways, I'm going to finish up these comments and get out of here. Oh. All right. Did all the comments. All right, guys. I just want to thank everybody for hanging out. Probably going to call that a podcast and a live stream, whatever it is. Appreciate you guys' comments. Appreciate you guys hanging out with me. That's about all I can look at Jeffrey Epstein's face for. Because, I mean, I just want to throw a honey badger at it. But it is what it is. So, all right, guys. I'll be back next Sunday. And hope you guys have a great week. And I hope you guys get a good night of sleep. And I'm out.